Hello, 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 everyone. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. I'm so glad that you can join me for 6 Steps for Marketing Genius, and I can't wait to share with you the great information that I'm going to be giving out today. So we're just going to wait just a couple of more minutes. I had to switch Hangouts here to make sure that I had enough capacity to host. So give me just a few quick seconds and we're going to get started in just a bit. So, hi, I'm Ashley Northington. I'm with Denora Brands and Public Relations, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me today for 6 Steps to Marketing Genius. Today, we're going to learn a couple of tricks and strategies that small business owners can use to really leverage the best parts of what they offer to their target audience in a way that's going to help them increase their revenue and increase their exposure among their ideal client base. So what I'm going to do before we get into the presentations, I'm going to share my screen with you to make sure that you can see everything that I see. Let's see. Perfect. So here today, we're going to really dig deep into 6 steps to marketing genius. Okay, first, I'm going to share with you a little bit about me. Again, I'm Ashley Northington, and I run Denora Brands and Public Relations. I like to say that everybody that works with us is passionate about helping people, organizations, and brands share their dynamic stories with the world. I've had a lot of experience as a journalist, as a public relations consultant, as a media manager, as a brand manager, an event producer, and I'm taking all of those skills and all of those experiences now to help more people learn how to communicate in a way that's going to, again, again, boost their exposure among their ideal client base and ultimately increase their revenue. And at the root of what we do at Denora Brands and Public Relations is that we help people tell stories that matter. And so it doesn't matter whether you sell hair combs, or you make pens, or you help children do something great. We're going to help you tell your story in a meaningful, high-value way that's going to get you great results. So what I'd like for you to do is get social. The first thing that I want you to do is a couple of steps. It's going to help me out tremendously. The first thing I want you to do is to log into Twitter or Facebook if you haven't already done so. When you log into Twitter or Facebook, I want you to search for DB+PR, and that would be my company's page. So you should see something that says Denora Brands and Public Relations. It should have light bulbs everywhere. So DB+PR. And once you find DB+PR, what I would love for you to do is to like or follow me. So if you're on Facebook, like the page. If you're on Twitter, please follow us, because we're always sharing great tips, tools, and resources to help business owners and brands and others be successful. And then after you like or follow, or both, if you're really excited about things, maybe you could do both. What I'd love for you to do is to share that page with your friends and tell them that you're learning some marketing techniques from me. And when you do that, I'd love for you to include the hashtag 6GeniusSteps, and include that in your message so that I can find you later on and retweet and talk to you and share with you the information, kind of talk about the information that we learned today. So again, step 1, log into Facebook or Twitter. Step 2, find Denora Brands and Public Relations. You can easily type in DB+PR, like or follow that page. Step 3, share that page with your friends, and in your message of sharing, tell them that you're learning marketing techniques from me, Ashley Northington. And in your message, please include the hashtag 6GeniusSteps in that message so that I can find you through that hashtag a little bit later on. And we can communicate and like and follow each other. So that's the get social portion of what we're doing today. Some people in Nashville call me the social media queen. So I like to include a social media aspect in all of my webinars or training. So again, follow these steps and I will be able to find you at a later date. So let's really get into it. Why are we even here today? We're here to, number 1, we're going to talk about brand positioning and how to best use it for your business, okay? What that means and how you can use it for business. We're also going to talk about a proven strategy that will create awareness among your potential customer pool. And then what we're also going to discuss is we're going to talk about how we can integrate traditional and digital marketing tactics to boost your visibility and your bottom line. So again, hopefully by the time we finish talking today, you're going to know about brand positioning. You're going to know what it is, and you're going to know how to use it. You're going to understand at least one strategy that's going to create, increase awareness among your ideal client type. And then 3, we're going to talk about how we can blend both digital and traditional strategies to boost your visibility and your bottom line. That's what we're going to focus on. So to get started, we have to know that marketing is all about positioning, okay? Everything in marketing, everything in business is about your brand position. And marketing is the underpinning. It is the current of every business. It's how every business moves forward. And you can't move forward without understanding positioning. And to sort of explain positioning in the best way, I like to use what I call the positioning pyramid. My friend Kamara Randolph shared with me this pyramid, and I talk about it all the time. But it's a concept that I think really helps people understand what it's like when you first enter the scene of business. So for most of us, when we start out in business, we start out at the bottom of the pyramid. As you can see, this positioning pyramid is divided into 4 quadrants. The bottom quadrant is where a lot of us start out in business, and that is the generalist portion of the positioning pyramid. The generalist portion is a cutthroat area, okay? That is where the competition is the most fierce. That is where you'll likely find multiple dozens, if not hundreds, of other companies who do the exact same thing you do. That is where you'll find yourself feeling the pressure to sometimes become a Jack or Jane of all trades. You'll find yourself, because you are so desperate to get business, because you want people to like you, and because you want people to support your business, you find yourself offering them more and more and more and more so you can beat out the other 25,000 people that do the same thing you do. So I use myself as an example. When I first started Denora Brands and Public Relations 5.5 years ago, I used to offer a myriad of services. You would not believe. I used to offer videography. Why? That's not my strength. I have a certification that says I'm a videographer, but that's not what my wheelhouse is. But because I wanted the business and I knew that video could be a powerful way to help tell stories, I wanted to offer that in my service pool. But that's not what was going to help my business out. I just gave what I found myself doing was giving people more and more and more, and I ended up with less every single time. I like to say you don't get more of the pie by offering more. You get more of the pie by doing less. And when you think about that, that's how you begin to move up the rung of this positioning pyramid. So after you get tired of offering everything to everyone and having this broad set of services to this broad set of people, you begin to narrow it down a bit, and then you move up and you become a specialist. Now, specialists are not Jacks and Janes of all trades. Specialists know how to do 3 or 4 things extraordinarily well. They know who they want to offer it to, and they can do it really, really well, and people say great things about them. The competition is far less because they're not fighting with everybody down at the bottom, because they've figured out what they know how to do well, and they've decided to zero in on that a little bit better. So specialists are great, and I believe that that's where a lot of small businesses die. They get very comfortable and they get very complacent with being a specialist, okay? So that's an okay place to be, but it's not the best place you can be. When you decide you want to offer even less and get more of the pie, you decide to become an expert. Now, experts position themselves and differentiate themselves from specialists by having media appearances, writing books, doing things necessary so that they stand out, so that people recognize them as someone who really, really, really knows their stuff. An expert might do 1 or 2 things amazingly well. So you see at the bottom, we offer a myriad of services to a whole bunch of people. When we become a specialist, we kind of shave off some of the services and get clearer on who we want to target our service offerings to. The experts have a well-defined audience, and they only do 1 or 2 things that they offer to this audience. And they do things publicly to position themselves so that they stand out from everyone else in their industry. They may write a book. They may have a podcast. They may have a radio show. They may have a talk show. They may have all of those things. Those are your experts. And then if you really want to be good and you really want to be the best, you decide you want to become an authority. And an authority is at the very, very top of the pyramid. And it's a place where I imagine, I'm not there yet, but I imagine it's a glorious place to be. You virtually have no competition, and that is at the stage where you're almost recognized as a household name. That is where you have You've written multiple books. You've had multiple major media appearances. You've really done something, one thing, really, really well. And people know you really, really well for doing this one thing. Okay. So when you think about an authority, I'd like for you to think about Dr. Phil. Okay. Dr. Phil is a family therapist. Dr. Phil probably doesn't know any more information than the family therapist down the street. Okay. But what Dr. Phil has done that the family therapist down the street probably hasn't done is positioned himself to be known as the go-to family therapist, the therapist that you need to know. Why? He's written books. He's been on Oprah. He's been on radio shows. He's done these amazing things so that people who need his help can readily identify him. That's how he ended up getting the show. He's been on Oprah so many times. People can identify him as doing what he does. So we're going to talk about today how we can become an authority. It's not a short process. It's definitely, something that takes, time and effort, but we're gonna talk about one way to get there, and that's through 6 steps to marketing genius. So let's dive right into the steps. Step 1. This is a step that I always talk about in almost every single webinar, every single training I ever do, and that is to know your niche. And that is so critically important because as I talk with small business owners, as I work with small business owners and teach them, what I find is that, again, most of us are at this generalist rung and we don't quite understand what we want to do, what we do well, and how we can offer that service and be the best at that 1 or 2, service offerings. Okay. So it's to get focus. Step 1 is to get laser-like focus on what you do, on what you do well, and only offering those products and services that you can do better than your competition, that you can do better than anyone else you know. So step 1 is just to get figured out what your niche is. Okay. Step 2 is something that I'm always talking about, and that's to know your ideal customer and to target them. So know your ideal customers and know their problems. So once you have step 1 and step 2 down, you're already moving into the specialist rung, okay? So know your customers, know your problems. So what you need to be able to do is to pinpoint who your ideal customers are and the problems that they're facing. And that's going to be absolutely key to running a successful business and becoming an authority. Okay. So let's kind of dig a little bit deeper on this ideal client piece. Okay. So a lot of times people say, well, actually, I don't know who my ideal client is, or anybody can use my product or services. But what I want you to start thinking about is who these people are, who your ideal client is. And the easiest way to find out who your ideal client is to think about the people or the types of businesses who will benefit the most from whatever products or services you offer. Again, think about who the person, the groups of people, or the business type that will benefit the most from what you offer. So I can use myself as an example. Ashley Northington, as a consultant, she helps writers, speakers, coaches, trainers, healers, consultants, and solopreneurs who want to be bold, make a difference, and create an authentic personal brand. These individuals have to be open, coachable, trustworthy, dedicated, and ready to work. So that's one set of ideal clients. The other set are small business owners located in Nashville. They don't have to be in Nashville. That have been in business 5 years or less, that are coachable, trustworthy, dedicated, and ready to do the hard work or the heavy lifting. So those are some of my personal ideal clients, people that I would consult with. Denora Brands and Public Relations, they have a different set. It has a different set of ideal clients. And that is small businesses and nonprofit organizations that have been in business 5 years or more, have revenues of more than $1 million annually, have a team of people working towards a common goal, an in-house public relations or marketing professional on staff who communicates well, that's coachable, dedicated, trustworthy, and ready to do the work, basically. And it's the same thing with government or public service agencies. So those are the types of people that or the groups that I have identified that would benefit the most from the types of services that I offer in my business. So it's action time. What I would like for you to do when you get home today or when you get settled or sometime later in the week, I want you to work out the details of who your ideal client is. So later on, I want you to write down the characteristics for your ideal client. If your business is a business-to-business or business-to-consumer company, describe the person or groups of people that you want to work with that would benefit the most from what you offer. If your business is B2B, like you do business, offer business services to other businesses, I want you to describe the type of business that you want to work with that would benefit the most from what you offer. If your business serves both individuals and businesses, I want you to describe both. I want you to really be specific. I want you to include age, maybe race, maybe where they live, what they like, what they do, the unique problems that they're facing, any frustrations that they have. I want you to really tap into the mindset of your ideal customer, and I want you to explain it in great detail. Once you have that down, you'll be able to operate better, and you'll be able to move up that positioning pyramid. Step 3, this is also something that I always talk about, is to solve your customers' problems. So we know that every business that exists solves a unique problem for a customer, okay? Every business solves a problem. So what you have to do is to figure out what that problem is and develop a program or an offering to address that problem. What you want to do is to develop a cookie cutter program or a special offering that solves your target audience's biggest problem. And you can test this program or offering on a trial group to make sure that it works. For example, if I'm a photographer, I might want to, and I want to target upcoming professionals who are excited about developing a personal brand. Well, my offering might be a headshot and lifestyle photo session. And I might say you get 2 hours of my time and 2 outfit changes for $500. That's the program. That's the offering. And then I'm going to have to figure out a way to market that offering to those people. If I'm a person who is a coach of some sort, I might want to offer some program to teach people how to increase their clientele or remove the barriers or obstacles that they face in business. So whatever your business is, develop some cookie cutter program. It could be an offering, it could be a coupon, whatever that is, develop something that you can give in mass that's going to solve your target audience's biggest problem. And before you give it out to millions of people, make sure you test it out to make sure it works. So step 4, and this is a big one. Step 4 is to develop content. What you need to be thinking about is to use meaningful content to market your products and your services, okay? So when people are asking or talking about, Ashley, how do I get my name out there? How do I market my business? What they're asking is, how do I get leads? How do I get people to want to do business with me? How do I get people in the door? Okay, so there's no panacea, there's no magic bullet for lead generation or to get sales. But out of all of the marketing strategies that people are employing right now, if there was one that worked more successfully than others, it would be content, and that is content marketing, okay? So that is the strategy that we're going to use to move up this positioning pyramid that we talked about earlier. We're going to figure out how we can develop great content that matters to our target audience. So let's talk about some content tips. The first thing we need to consider is just we really want to focus on quality over quantity. And how we do that, the first thing we need to think about is to start with a clear objective. We need to decide what is the purpose of us producing this content. Is it that we want to increase visibility? Is it that we want to get sales leads? Is it that we want to get people to come to our open house? Is it that we want to get people to sign up for a program? Is it that we want to get people to take advantage of the special offering that we have? What is it that we want them to do? Once we figure out what that objective is, then we can develop our content to around that objective to support it. Okay. The next thing we want to do is to determine the impact channels. And what that is deciding where you want to distribute that content. And we'll get into that a little bit later on content distribution. And then the next thing we want to talk about or think about when we're developing this content is we want to determine what the customer's action steps are going to be. So when they interact with that content piece, whether it's a blog, a video, a set of photos, a coupon, whatever it is, an email, what do they need to do once they get it? Should they refer a friend to your program? Should they pick up the phone and call you? Should they send you an email? Should they text you? Should they get up, drive in their car and drive to your location? Should they send a smoke signal and stalk you? What should they be doing after they interact with that content piece? And then once you determine what that action step is, what you want that next action step is, include that in your content. You have to tell them what you want them to do. Sign up for this. Call me here. Sign up for your free consultation. Whatever it is, whatever the step is, tell them that. And make sure you're just producing high quality content, okay? So again, I'm going to talk about content till I'm blue in the face because content is where you can really win and really stand out. If for those of you who may have been on the webinar a couple of weeks back, you'll know that I talked about the content process. And what each of us should be doing when we're thinking about content marketing is creating high quality content outside of social media, outside of everything else, and sharing that content on social media to attract your target audience to you. So we have to figure out where they are and share their content there to lead them back to us through our website, through our email channels and other platforms, okay? So let's talk about some great content examples or some great content that'll get you some great attention. We know that if you share content on social media, we know that pictures get a 39% higher interaction rate than posts that are just text only. Actually, right now, video posts are getting an even higher interaction rate than that. Sometimes if you say it with emoticons, posts with emoticons, believe it or not, get a 52% higher interaction rate than posts without emoticons. I personally am not a fan of a whole bunch of smiley faces and hearts and all of that in my content, but if it works and gets you the interaction, then that's great. Keep it short and simple. People don't want to read your dissertation. So posts with 80 characters or less get 23% higher interaction rates than longer ones. Again, you have to ask for what you want. So posts that ask people to like, share, comment receive 7 times more interaction than those that don't. Asking your audience a question will generate a 92% higher comment rate. If you ask people to caption this, so say if you post a video or an image and you just simply say caption this, you're going to get a 5.5% higher comment rate than if you didn't do that. So those are some ways to get some engagement with those content pieces that you post on your website that you then share on social media. These are some ways to get people interacting and engaged with you so that they can discover your great content. One way to really focus on leveraging your content is to use keywords to identify important conversations, people, clients, and meaningful groups, okay? Let me give you an example of what keywords are. So in my business, we write a lot of blogs and we share a lot of blogs. And so sometimes, and we write about public relations, marketing, brand strategy, social media, maybe sometimes event production, okay? Always brand development. And so some of the keywords for Denora Brands and public relations that we would include in our blogs and our emails and our social media posts would be small business, public relations, marketing, social media marketing, storytelling, brand narrative, branding, personal brand, inbound marketing, content marketing, marketing. I mean, I could go on and on and on with the keywords that people would search for. So the idea is to include words that people, not just stuff your content or your blog post or your emails or whatever full of these words because you think that people are going to search for them. Don't keyword stuff, but include them where it's natural, where it makes sense to include them. Why? Because those are the types of words and phrases that people are searching for. So another business owner who is looking for exposure or looking for how to get the word out about his or her business, they might search marketing. They might search marketing in Nashville. And I'm sure if you search marketing in Nashville, eventually some Denora Brands and public relations stuff will show up. So it's all about using keywords that make sense for your industry. Okay. These days, keywords are now being punctuated with the use of a pound sign. These keyword pound sign combinations are called hashtags. Okay. We used to call them number signs, but now they are full on called hashtags. So when we're sharing this content on social media, hashtags are a way for these users to tag their posts with the keywords, which in turn makes it easier for other people to find you. So what you want to do is in your captions, you want to add these hashtags to your post to highlight certain keywords and important content. Okay, so here's how to use these hashtags. I want to give you a few quick tips on using hashtags in your content. Okay, so the first thing is just to note that a hashtag is just in a social post is just as simple as adding the pound sign before a single word or phrase without spaces or punctuation. Of course, numbers are okay. Don't be inclined to string too many words together with a single hashtag. Why? Because people aren't going to search for that. So if you hashtag something, I should have done it this way the first time, people aren't searching for that. Okay, that's not something that they're going to search for. They might search for social media marketing, brand development, branding, personal brand, chocolate, sweets, strawberries, photography, headshots. They're going to search for certain words. And so what people are, those hashtags are highly searchable on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram, right? And so when people click on those hashtags, they find content. So if you have this sentence that you hashtag, chances are people aren't going to click on that. People aren't going to search for that, and then your content can't be found. So we have to use these hashtags as a word, yes, to highlight keywords, but also as a way so that people can discover you. So if you tweet or you post on your public account, and your account can't be private to get this done, anyone who searches for that hashtag can find your content. So that's valuable. So you use these hashtags in a way that's going to make you highly searchable so that people can discover your content, be led to your website, take an action after they get to your website, and now you have a sales lead, okay? So also, don't spam people with hashtags. So don't have 25 hashtags in a single tweet. That's not going to work. People, the eyes are trained to ignore that. The eyes are trained to sort of gloss over that. I find on Twitter it's acceptable to use 3 to 4 hashtags. On Instagram, you can use up to 11. On Facebook, keep it simple, use 2 or 3. Hashtags don't work on Pinterest. They don't really work on YouTube, and they don't work on LinkedIn. So you won't get your bang for your buck there, but using keywords will. Okay, so only use hashtags that are relevant to what your industry topic is. So I'm not going to hashtag. I might say use a hashtag that has Nashville. It might have social media marketing. It might have a webinar. I might use brand development, but I'm not going to hashtag strawberries or Nashville hair or beauty. Why? Because that's not relevant to what I do. So you only want to use hashtags that are super relevant to your specific industry. It is sometimes cool to create your own hashtag to promote a specific product, event, or service. So sometimes on Instagram, you might see some posts that say Denora Brands or Denora PR. For my personal brand development class, the hashtag I use is Live Your Brand. That's a hashtag that I created just for that specific service. So it's okay to create your own, but using other hashtags that are highly valuable will help you leverage those keywords and help people discover you. And the more people discover you, the more sales leads you can get, right? So here's your at-home actionable. What I'd like you to do is just to begin with writing 3 or 4 keywords that are related to your industry or your profession. And then what I'd like for you to do is to go search those keywords in Facebook, on Instagram, maybe even LinkedIn. In the search bar, just type in those keywords that you've written down and see what type of people, places, conversations, groups that you can find that you also need to be interested in. See what you can discover by using those hashtags. So the actionable, write down all the hashtags that you think are relevant to your industry, and then go into your social media platforms and search for those hashtags or those keywords. You can do the keyword ways without the hashtag, or you can do use the hashtag, add the hashtag to the keyword and search to see what you come up with. And I'm sure that you're going to be able to find some relevant people in your ideal audience that you might need to interact with, okay? So we've talked a lot about content, okay? And I could teach a separate class on just content strategies, but we're gonna leave that alone for today. We're gonna talk about now how we can distribute the content. So the 5th step in 6 Steps to Marketing Genius is to simply distribute that content, okay? So how do we distribute the content? The easiest way to do it is to do something called multicasting, which allows you to distribute one piece of content through many different channels. So right now I'm giving a webinar, that's a piece of content, and I'm distributing that webinar live. So that's a live cast. I could turn this information into a blog, and that will be a blog. I could turn this information into a series of pictures and share the tips on Instagram. And now I have posts for Instagram. I can take these tips and I can share them on Twitter, and now I have a series of tweets. So that's multicasting. It's just taking one piece of information and reformatting it to a different platform that you know your ideal audience is going to be at, okay? So we've talked about how you distribute it, and we talked about these different platforms. I think it's also important to figure out which platforms you should be on, okay? So there are many options on social media to distribute your content. You can be on Flickr, Twitter, Reddit, Google+, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, even MySpace still. SlideShare, there's so many places for you to be, but the key is to only engage in the networks that allow you the best opportunity to connect with ideal clients, okay? Only engage in those platforms that give you the greatest opportunity to connect with your ideal clients. So here's some questions. But before we get to the question, you need to be creating a why. So a lot of people will say be on every social media network because you can reach more people that way. Well, if you have the capacity to do that, then I say by all means do that. But for those of us who are on a really tight schedule, who are on a time crunch, what you need to do is just narrow it down to 2 or 3, maybe 4 if you can manage it. You don't need to be on every one, but you have to be able to create the why for each platform that you're on. You ought to be able to give a good reason why you're there. So here's some questions that you should consider when deciding how you're going to distribute your content and which channels you're going to use. So question one, you got to think, is my target audience using this platform? Okay. If they're not, then then you don't need to be there. Okay. Question number two, are people actually engaging with me on this platform? Okay. So are people talking to me on this platform? Is this a place where people want to engage with me? Question number three, is it easy for me to use this platform? Is it easy for me to use and be consistent? Okay. Question number four, am I actually engaging others and being consistent? So, it's one thing if it's easy for me to do it. It's another thing if I'm actually doing it. So question number four, am I engaging others and being consistent by using this platform? If you're not being consistent, then don't use it. Nothing worse than having this big presence there and then it's just dead and stale, okay? So question number five, can I create opportunities to highlight my products or services? If you can't create an opportunity to highlight what you do and showcase your expertise in a way that's going to help you move up that positioning pyramid, then don't engage on that platform, okay? Question number six, why? Why in the world am I using this network? Okay, so why am I using it? Is it to increase awareness? Is it to generate sales? Is it to just have a presence because I think I'm supposed to have a presence, which is probably not a good reason for you to be on using any type of social platform? So figure out why you're using them. Is it just to tell the story? Is it to highlight customers? Figure out what your why is around each platform. Develop your content tailored to that why and go from there. So step number 6 is 6 steps to marketing genius, is to create a schedule. This is supremely important. Create your schedule and be consistent. What I'd like for you to think about doing is to put together a content marketing calendar that's going to help you get organized and, most importantly, make it clear what the purpose is for every single tweet, blog post, video, event, or other piece of content you have out there is, okay? What is the purpose for this content? Be consistent so that people know to look for it on a regular timeline, okay? How I like to think about creating this schedule and developing this content is to divide and conquer, okay? So divide your content marketing efforts into 2 categories. The first category is your lightweight category. And those are things like Facebook posts, tweets, maybe emails, comments on blogs, things that you can do pretty quickly and easily that are going to support your activities and help you engage your audience, okay? Then heavyweight. Your heavyweight things, this is where we begin to move offline and talk about some traditional things, okay? So your heavyweight content, heavyweight pieces are your in-person events, your product promotions, your white papers, case studies, networking opportunities, and any other media forms of marketing that establish a connected relationship with your ideal client base and drive results in your business. This is the things that are going to take a little bit more time for you to do, but are going to help you get those sales, are going to help you get the visibility and the know-how among your ideal audience type so that they can be connected to you and you can become an authority eventually, okay? So let's talk about how we can create a calendar of things that you can do each day, week, month, quarter, and year. So when we're talking about daily content, daily activities, this could be a status update. It could be sharing a news article or a blog. It could be posing a question on any platform or posting a photo quote. It could be something like that. Weekly content could be a blog post, a how-to article. People love a how-to article, a series of blog posts or video or an email series. Monthly content might be profiles, video interviews, online case studies, archiving your presentations to SlideShare. It could be an e-newsletter. It could be a podcast, radio show appearance, customer success story. Could be contributing to an online magazine or an online blog. It could be creating your own networking event every month. Quarterly content could be a webinar, an ebook, a white paper, or a special report or giveaway, or an event series that you do for yourself. Yearly content, this could be a conference that you create or attend. It could be a live event or a virtual event. You could record the sessions to repurpose as blog posts or videos at a later date. It could be another white paper or an ebook, an annual report, a guide, or just a plain old book. So these are some of the things that you can do on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or yearly basis. And so you just think about, what can I do that's lightweight? What can I do that's heavyweight? And then how do I farm that out over each day, week, month, quarter, and year? And create your schedule that way. So that is what we have for today. Does anyone have any questions? I can stop sharing my screen now. Anybody have any questions? You should be able to ask questions on the side by clicking on this Q&A tab. Questions, questions, questions. No questions? Okay, good. If you have questions, you can just always send me an email and I'd be happy to answer them. You can jump on over into Live Your Brand. My group on Facebook is #LiveYourBrand and request to join it. Ask me questions there, and I'd be happy to answer them. I wanted to also share with you guys another opportunity to connect with me at a later date. Here in Nashville, I am hosting the Dream It, Live It, Vision Your Way to Success retreat here. And it's going to be a 4-hour workshop on how to get your brand moving, get your business into overdrive. I'm going to share with you guys the link below this video. And it's all about putting together a plan of action for success. Think of a vision board party on steroids. So I know that some of you have been meaning to write a book or start a blog or launch your business even. So this retreat is going to help you put together a plan of action for you to do just that. I'd love for you to join us. It's on November the 14th. Again, you can find the event on Eventbrite. It's called Dream It, Live It, Vision Your Way to Success in 2016. And it's all about helping you kick your brand into overdrive and putting together a plan of action that's going to help you succeed. Not only are we going to have food and drink, but I'm going to pair you with an accountability partner so that you have someone that's going to help you be your cheerleader and help you get to success. And I hope that you can join me there. Again, I'm going to post a link to that below this video. Since we don't have questions, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.